round of 32 action from the World Ultimate Club Championships in Cincinnati, Ohio. It doesn't get better than this. We got a mixed division matchup between Union out of Canada and Macondo out of Colombia. Theo Wong here with Katie Killebrew. And Katie, we'd be remiss to not talk about some of the sights and sounds, but also the weather from earlier today.
You may have been wanting to see this game a little bit earlier, but the weather didn't cooperate. Earlier today, absolutely pouring down rain, and you can see there on your screen the sunshine starting to come through here in Cincinnati.
It is an absolute, it's pretty hot now. I won't say it's an absolute scorcher right now, Katie, but it is definitely hotter than it was before. Humidity at the 90% range there, and both teams, this is going to be a story of the game here. Both teams having, and not just these two teams on the showcase field right now, but teams throughout the complex having to deal with a multi-hour delay.
Yeah, it's safety first here with WFDF, and when there is lightning anywhere in the area, we had to delay games this morning, and with the torrential downpour we had for a bit there, the fields got a little bit damp, and so for player safety in terms of the playing surfaces lasting for the rest of our entire 8-day tournament, they decided to let those fields dry out so that the players had the absolute best playing surface possible on this up and down weather day.
Right now getting a good shot at the team in white for this game, Toronto Union out of Canada. And now a shot of the team in dark, Macondo out of Colombia. Macondo 3-2 in pool play. Union 4-1. And as we're about to get to the first hole of this contest, let's look at the keys to the game.
In talking with Union's coach Warren, he said they really wanted to restart strong out of this long delay, many stops and starts as we were adjusting to the changing weather. They want to stop the speed of Macondo, and they really want to play their game. Union being a team out of Canada in their 11th year. They just celebrated their 10-year history after they were founded in 2011, bringing 3 teams together out of the Toronto area. Macondo alternatively want to use their speed to try to run past Union's defender. You can see in their huddle, they are playing hype, they are playing fun. They are a team that really loves to celebrate each other, and they want to use that all the way through this game as they get hyped to start this match here.
And what's at stake for those tuning in is a spot in the round of 16. The winner of this game will play the winner of Seattle Mixtape and Smog Rising out of the UK, and will keep their championship hopes alive. Katie, you and I have been waiting for this matchup for a few hours now, and I'm sure the players are chomping at the bit, and we in the booth as well, just ready for this game to get underway.
Absolutely, and this is a really tough position for teams to come out of. You're expecting to play in the rain, you're expecting to start in an hour, and then suddenly you're playing 3 hours from now. It's going to be sunny. It's a lot of waiting, maybe some time for those mental gremlins to get in there, start messing around with your thoughts, worrying about how it's going to affect your tournament and how your team is going to view how you're playing. And that's, I think, what the team coaches wanted to stop. They wanted to get out of this break. We saw Macondo really using their speaker to the best advantage, that blasting some tunes and dancing together as they did their re-warming up, maybe for the 3rd time today, in order to get this match started.
We'll get our first look at the Toronto Union offensive line. And right now, the gender matchup being 4 male matching players for both teams. As the pull ready to go up from Macondo, and we're ready to get things underway in this round of 32 matchup. Thank you for tuning in here on Ultiworld's coverage of the World Ultimate Club Championships. Sioux centers to Lamb. Union's offense getting moving here in a split stack. Jackie Man going deep. And saw even a slip on that first cut, and as there's a stoppage, something to keep an eye on is the field conditions we talked about at the Open already.
We tried to let the fields dry out as much as possible while still playing rounds today so that the entire tournament can be completed, but it rained a lot, and that messed with the field conditions and maybe some focus.
Blanchard bobbles it, just catches it, now looking for man, and that's a smooth hole for Union to start things off. Eric Blanchard, the veteran and captain of this squad, finds Jackie Mann, another captain, for the score.
It looked a little bit frantic at the beginning, cuts coming from all over the place for Union, but eventually reeling it in with about 2 half-field throws, connecting there, a bobble, but focusing for the catch, and then precision throwing towards the end zone for a wide open receiver. The poach trying to come off there, but eventually respecting the space of that player, which we like to see. We like to say safe play here as we try. And if you didn't like the changing weather enough, Theo, we have a little bit more wind here today.
Things constantly changing in this tournament, some upsets happening, some teams making big runs. A great story so far being McLeod, a Dominican Republic team, taking down BFG yesterday and shaking things up in the mixed division. We'll actually have Ann Arbor Hybrid and Seattle BFG in a round of 16 matchup coming up next. So lots to see on these streams here as Union gets underway on defense. First look at the Macondo offensive line. Just in the center of the field right now. Columbia's trying to get a smooth hold of their own. The throw goes up. And just a little too far for Arango, the intended receiver from Medellin.
That is the kind of offense that Macondo is used to connecting on. They're really good at throwing deep to all 7 players on the field, really utilizing the depth of this team, but that one just getting away from them in the wind.
Pick called as Toronto Union trying to get things going on the defensive line here and trying to get a break and really starting hot, of course, in this round of 32 matchup. That's their goal right now. Yu goes inside to Ing Chen. Ing Chen laying one out for Musalem, but can't come down with it.
2 players laying out there.
It's close sideline. Macondo, a second opportunity, don't want to waste it now. Tamayo going up the big huck. And in the left hand, but out, and another opportunity for Union. Kuster not able to wrangle that one in. Nepom on this close sideline. Mark being very active, but Musalem able to now swing to the other side of the field to Lynch. You loading up the backhand, looking for possibly Burke and Lynch in the area as well. Not too sure who you was looking for.
I feel like that's a high stall count. This defensive line is trying to get breaks, but also making sure they play what we call the yardage game. Turning the disc as far from their own end zone as possible and really making Macondo work the full 70 yards of the field.
Altieri had the disc and now over to Campbell. A Canadian on this team, playing against the fellow Canadian team in Union. Altieri leading the way with 14 assists and just dumping it off now onto this close sideline. Altieri trying to go up line. The high release backhand works out for now for Macondo, but reset's coming a little bit hard right now for this Colombian side. And a drop there. Kuster maybe throw a little too hot. And now Union, another break opportunity. That throw sailing out of bounds, and you mentioned the wind, and perhaps that playing a bit of a factor right now as well.
Like we said, it's really hard to mentally come out strong in these games. We're seeing a little bit of fluster from both teams.
Macondo, if they can work it up here, they'll still get the hold. It's an offensive point for them. Arango finds Campbell on the reset. Looking up line for Arango, and Arango putting her hands up, saying, "I'll throw a little too far there."
It's a heavy turnover point here in the second point of the game. Both of these teams having dealt with a lot today, really trying to find their footing on this maybe still slick, slip and slidey field.
And a layout block, what a play. Altieri getting horizontal to save this offensive point for Macondo. 4 turnovers apiece by my count. And neither team right now electing to call a timeout, trying to play through it. Lynch pointing to the spot where Altieri has to start things off. Trust throw, and Nepom coming off the back, and turnovers piling up on this second point.
I would like both teams to just maybe take a deep breath, realizing this game is actually started. We do get to play Ultimate today, and really relax and trust the systems of their teams. A Union timeout is called, maybe to do just that. We'll see what their coaches have to say to them. What would you be saying to your team right now?
I would say you got to take a breath right now. I know they've tried a couple deep shots. It looks like Macondo's had, at least on a couple of possessions, a little bit trouble resetting right now. And Union taking some shots that maybe they would like to have back. I see multiple coaches and very animate there discussing what's happening. Union having a coach and a player coach as well in Emma Seaborn as we get a look at some of the turnovers. And of course, the flying layout block from Altieri to save things for Macondo, but now they're still on defense. And we'll see what comes from that. Tried to go with the trust throw there to Tamayo, but just too far.
And then we saw this timeout being called here on their own end zone line, having to work 70 yards up the field. As a coach, I would have liked that timeout to have been called a little bit closer to the end zone, especially as the wind begins to pick up. But again, this is a team that's looking to get in groove together, really trying to get on the same page, taking that timeout to refocus in the beginning part of this game. Our game advisors here signaling time. You can hear maybe some whistles in the background. Our game advisors are not observers or referees. They're there to help players with rules knowledge or giving an extra perspective. But again, all of the calls are up to the players themselves.
Marcelino coming on, a rookie handler for this team, off of an injury sub from Azuzena. Marcelino, can she get there? Good concentration and layout grab. Keep things moving here. And flying again. And it's going to settle into the turf. Tamayo this time. And the Colombians really showing that they like to take off and go horizontal to save possession for their team.
This is a team that likes to run fast. They like to keep things moving. They really like all sorts of fast movement, and that high-flying D was absolutely part of the ethos of this team.
Campbell inside shot. Kuster. Durham, North Carolina native. And lefty looking for some options. High stall count. Gets it back. Kuster gonna go high over the mark. And Lynch is not even gonna bat it away. Let a handler pick it up. That makes it, by my count, 6 turnovers on this point for the Macondo squad.
Yeah, this is, that was very deep out of the end zone. I think really feeling the pressure from Union's tight defense. You can see that almost poached there in the lane. The disc dinging off of the sponsor signs.
So if you're a Union, you've had many, many opportunities, of course, in this point, and eventually Macondo's going to clean things up and not let you have those opportunities. Good grab under pressure. Big flake fake allows Ing Chen to get the under. He had a low backhand earlier that was caught by Blanchard, almost bobbled. And now you're going to go backhand Huck. Tamayo was there, Ing Chen, Lynch, Altieri. And Altieri coming over the top for the block. But there is a foul.
I liked the handler release from the far side. Going from the handler position all the way into that deep space. A lot of players underneath the disc as we get another look at it. Silence there from the game advisors and the players as the players also get to get another look at this.
That's okay, but he didn't catch it.
No contest. I think I got you, but I got the disc, but I think I hit you too.
So
it's foul.
wait. Ground tap, and then you can move.
So this is the case of the game advisors advising how to restart this possession.
Heng Chen on the doorstep of a break, and Union gets it. The spike from Nippon, and Union goes up 2-0.
I think if a coach had to draw up how they wanted that break to go, it would not have taken Union that many attempts to get it. But finally working the disc all the way up, really using Nippon. Nippon putting in work on that point with a defensive effort.
Players on both sides really putting in work on that point with 11 turnovers total for that one, and Union able to punch it in. Now Macondo, this is your chance. I see, and a chance I should say, for different players to get involved, and I'm seeing the offensive line, Noah Altieri, Tamayo, Campbell on this point, gonna give them a rest. And with the humidity, I'm seeing Altieri actually coming on this point and getting some chalk to dry up the hands right now. A lot of sweat coming down with all that humidity in the air.
It is 90% humidity here, which basically means the water is air. Air is water. At that point, it feels a little bit sticky here on the side, which is maybe not the best for throwing, but I don't think that it's really enough to affect deeply the level of throws. It might just be a measure of confidence coming into this third point.
Montagno to pick up and now centers it to Altieri, who had the block earlier, but unfortunately that didn't result in the hold, as multiple turnovers later, Union able to get the score. See Jeff Wu, number 8, on some discussion, accepting the call there. The hand signals that we've talked about throughout the broadcast, a big part of the WFTF tournament and the spirit of the game here. Montagno, big fakes, and Heineman, great handler defense. And now Union trying to go up 3-0, and surely they would call a timeout at that point. And throws it to Redmond, and Heineman is fired up, and so is Union. They go up 3-0 on Macondo.
That was a much more efficient use of offense after getting the turn there. Coach Warren saying that Union wanted to come out with intense, tight defense in this point, and that's exactly what they did, causing a turnover in the handler space and then throwing there. Union doing a really good job of using all of the players on the field. I think that some teams maybe struggle with the changing gender ratios to continue to utilize that, but not proving to be a problem for Union. Macondo calling a timeout this time.
Katie, I know you moonlight, we'll say, in the daytime as a coach. So right now, Macondo called the timeout, down 3-0, couple turnovers. Well, especially on that first offensive point, second of the game. What are you saying to the squad right now in this huddle?
Well, for Macondo, we saw them warming up. We saw them on the sideline in between games as we were waiting. And they are a team that likes to be loose. They like to celebrate. They are dancing. They're having a lot of fun. And if you look at this squad out here, like, that is not a group of people whose faces show that they're having fun right now. And the reason we play the sport is because Frisbee is fun. So reminding your team that Frisbee is fun, going back to basics and fundamentals, moving the disc quickly, hitting your targets. I think that they're maybe waiting to try to make the right shot as opposed to just throwing it to the first open person you see and not letting the defense clamp down as tightly. But really, I think most momentum changes come from emotion, come from the sideline, come from an energy shift. So I would be focusing on telling my players that it's got to come from the sideline. More high fives, less not high fives.
Less folded arms for right now. Don't see much of that, but a much quieter sideline than what we saw earlier, at least in the pregame from Macondo, and we'll eventually get to their team origin story, which is very interesting. Katie will share that later on, perhaps after this point, as Union coming out on defense, starting a hot 3-0. Matt Kishi, another rookie on this team, with the pull. Coming on person defense here, and there was a foul call with Huynh, who was on the mark for Union, number 26. Montoya. Pick once again. Daniela Benhumea in the reset space right now from Macondo. And a couple stoppages trying to, it does take away some of that flow that I know Macondo wants to work in, especially with their speed.
Yeah, Union is playing very tight defense. They're all over each player and making it very difficult for the Macondo players to get loose and into the space that they like to use. It's good defensive tactics.
Montagno gets the disc under a lot of pressure from Kishi. Moving around the mark, back to Benhumea. Excuse me, Duque. Moving it to the far side. Montagno, what a catch! Trailing edge. Macondo really wanting to go horizontal. We've seen it 3 times now.
A little bit of a double cut, 2 players making the same option.
Montagno throwing, going in a high throw, taken down by Montoya. No, lefty instead, Lynch falling down. And a little bit of a casual backhand that does get reeled in eventually. But Kuster makes the grab, but the backhand looking a little casual for my liking.
I mean, a score is a score there, Theo. You have to give it to Macondo. They like playing loose, and that's exactly what they did on that point. I don't know that we told them that we had the lines repainted yesterday, but they are absolutely looking at every inch of the end zone, making crazy grabs to save possession, and they're that inside backhand just floating and popping right there at the back of the end zone, using the whole field in this point.
That flying grab you saw in the replay, very much needed there to save things. Definitely don't want to go down 4-0. Right now you're down 3-1, and you can try to power up a D-line to make some things happen as well. As we get a look at one of the coaches here at Macondo that you had a chance to speak to earlier.
Yes, he's one of the original players on this team, formulated for the LECO World Games in 2014, where they had so much fun playing together, they decided to make it a club team that has continued since that 2014 run. Now coaching instead.
Union's offensive line had a little bit of a break here. So now they get back into action. Man finds McClelland. McClelland popping up the backhand for Lamb. And despite the pressure, 31 Sarah Lamb makes the grab, and a great answer for Union, the smooth hold right away.
That was very smooth offense. I would say that for a team that prides itself on its speed, Macondo not really forcing them to do anything other than throw it up the sideline. You saw them go up to the open side again and again, right there on the sideline, trying to avoid space, some contact there at the end. But again, just easy flowing offense from Union, which is exactly what they wanted to do.
Darrell Lamb keeping things loose for this Union side. Up 4-1 right now, and this is where Macondo can continue to show their resilience as they try to get back on this offense. And we talked about the coaching staff and a chance to talk about that, but you also know, as you mentioned, how they started and now the club that they are. Losing a D crash in the Colombian National Final. A strong side here, and talking with one of their captains earlier, not all their players from one area. So we said, do you want to be called Colombia or do you want to just be from one city? And they said they had players from Medellin, but also other places, and a couple of North Americans on this side as well.
Yeah, the majority of players have played with this team before, maybe not this exact season, but either while they were living in Colombia or in other instances spending time with the Fun Macondo team. But due to some issues not being able to maybe make it to this tournament for various reasons, they've added to the roster, bringing back old friends, trying to weave them into the chemistry of this team. We see a zone look here from Union, forcing Macondo to throw many throws across the field.
That's one way to stop the speed of a team, is to slow things down and make them work it up. Had a chance to call Revolution's game yesterday, and despite the zone, they were still moving quickly with some give-and-go passes. Altieri out on the races. Unmarked still now. Finds Duque. Back to Altieri, and not quite in the end zone for Macondo. Duque in the reset. Gizmo goes right away with Kuster around. Still not in the end zone for the Colombian group. As Union trying to make a goal line stand right now.
Really seamlessly trying to go into that person defense, stopping this momentum of Montagno there again with the disc. Can they be stopped?
They're being very patient on this point. A lot of resistance from this Union defensive line, and a foul called there on Nepom. Has played for the second team that's now been renamed and rebranded, but had played for a team called Toxics in Toronto. Campbell, a little head nod, trying to get a cover move and a backhand fake. Altieri bursts free to the open side, still not in. And there it is, finds Daniela Benjumea. And Altieri, a second assist in this game, had 14 coming into today.
Benjumea has been a player who has really contributed to this Macondo side. She and her brother both playing for this side, both playing also youth in Colombia and bringing that experience to this Macondo team.
Having a couple siblings on the squad definitely helps you out. Continues to build that great culture that they have in this program. Get a shot of Benjumea and Duque talking as they walk to the sidelines here. Despite getting broken 2 straight times, able to get 2 smooth holds, more recently.
Absolutely. I think this is, we're going to see Union back on offense now with a 2-point advantage. So far, Union have had a female matching player score every single one of their goals, and it's been a different player each time, all different assisters and all different scorers. So I think Macondo's really going to have to adjust to shutting down all 7 players if they're going to want to stop the momentum of this O-line.
Even coming into this contest, you could point out one person, but it's hard to for the Union team if you look at their statistics, because a couple people in double digits and not just one person. McCullen just with the height, able to bring that in. Involved on the assist on the last offensive point.
This Macondo sideline is starting to heat up, calling back and forth for maybe a forced middle, but that's the kind of energy that they want coming into this. The sideline is heating up, Theo.
I mean, we're also heating up in the booth a little bit. The wind gusts do help with a little bit of the breeze, and I'm sure the players would like a little bit of reprieve from the heat as well. It did get pretty cold once the rain started hitting, almost like torrential, as you mentioned, soak on the fields, but this sunlight hopefully helping drain some of that. Balzerson, another tall player for this Union squad, finds Lamb. Hear a lot of chatter from the Macondo sideline, really trying to usher their squad. And a pick, maybe moving things back here.
This is a fun defense for Macondo. There's always someone in the lane. They're playing tight defense in some places and poaching off in other places, making it difficult for Union to find the usual flow that they have.
Saw the graphic that just popped up on your screen there. 7 break opportunities for Union. And Katie, I'm not sure if you're going to believe this, but 0 so far from Macondo. So either unforced or trying to make some things happen. Their defense is going to have to do something.
Coming on 2.
Because if things stay the way they are, Union's going to take this one.
Absolutely true, as there's a violation in how they restarted this point. Players gesturing to that point of the field. On that blade of grass you must stand before we begin again. But I agree with you, Theo. Defense is what wins games, and I think that both of these teams really priding themselves on tight defense. It is going to take some effort and get their hand on the disc in order to make a change in this game.
Or, not sure if the throw got blocked there. Was a little bit difficult to see from our vantage point, but either way, Macondo, is there, maybe we prophesied that a little bit as we talked about their
the
lack
pressure,
of break opportunities,
the
but now they get it.
pressure is mounting. First break opportunity here for Macondo.
Inside throw. But it's caught and things starting to move now for Macondo. Arias. Great attempt from McCullum's got to get up, set the mark. He does that. Brewster. Working it down. Macondo really working laterally quickly. Brewster with some head nods, but man, poaching in the area. Eventually finds Arias on the reset. Durman going inside, high throw, but it's going to sail into the arms of Brewster. And Macondo, you get one break opportunity and you cash it in right away.
That was a really trusting space throw, really trusting that the wind wasn't going to blow it away, trusting that your teammate was going to be able to run it down. Again, no one initially in that area, but enough space on the far side of that end zone that was uninhibited by any human beings except for finally a teammate to catch that. Absolutely 100% efficiency on their break chances for Macondo. Great work from that defensive line. And we're starting to see some smiles.
I was going to say,
we saw
the body language look a little bit down earlier, but now the smiles are coming back as they get the break and feeling that bit of dancing on the sidelines with some music as well.
After the break, we're seeing a maybe half of the same O-line out there for Union. Some different faces, but really a lot of the same handlers trying to keep that connection through their offensive practice. This is a team that is really set up for Canadian. I think there's only one player on this team who's not actually on their roster for this season, and it's a player who was there for last season.
Nathaniel Ferris being called up into action, plays for an open team in Toronto called Grand Trunk, who I'm sure is watching at home, cheering on their star player, or one of their star players. Eng Chen dialed up a backhand earlier, holsters it this time. Su has Marcelino free, and perhaps free because of a pick.
Pick happens.
What's their count?
Romeo, affectionately known as Pluto, on the mark.
So saying 4 or saying 3?
It's only 3.
Saying 3. Great.
Su gonna dial up this flick for Eng Chen. And snagging her with the left hand, going up large. is Jordan Ing Chen. This 5'11" cutter with the grab.
Union not wanting to play ticky-tacky ultimate there, wanting to throw in one throw, I guess. No passes, just scores. On the restart.
And a great way to get things back for your side is getting a smooth hold. We saw that from Macondo when they were broken a few times. And now both teams dealing with that momentum shift. I'm sure you've heard it if you watched some ultimate games there. In your life, the idea of ebbs and flows and how there's constant movement in terms of the momentum. And as a coach and captains and the rest of the players, I would say, you have to find ways to deal with that either through the singing, the chants, the mantras, or things like that.
Yeah, cheering is also not always about just being happy or being positive. It's about staying engaged with your teammates. It is about really focusing in on what's happening on the field. So assigning players to talk, small teammates saying, oh, on the pole, like as it goes up now. Those are sort of things that keep players on the sideline engaged with the game. And really, if you could play with 7+, why not?
Sometimes your defense is amped up, but an out-of-bounds pole kind of takes the wind out of the sails. You hear the sidelines. They were yelling during the pole or cheering, and now that cheering has subsided. Perhaps it will ramp back up once the disc gets put in play.
I just want to highlight the spike ball set that was in the far background over there. It's just part of the atmosphere here at World. Players from all over the world coming together to not just play Ultimate, but really engage with one another. And you can see them just having fun all up and down the field, even though some of the teams may not wish that winning happened more than just fun.
Some teams out in terms of their championship hopes, but some more consolation games still to be had here. Azuzena, good layout attempt, comes up empty though. Montoya finds a slide into Mayo. Coming into this game, 10 points for this Macondo group. Here Coach Warren Tang telling some of the handler defenders to push them back, or the cutters defenders to push them back here. Another inside shot, will this stay in? It does. And it's knocked away.
Oh, that point block was dirty.
Azuzena getting involved once again for Union. And Powell, a slicing blade that gets scooped, almost a basket catch from Lynch. Napalm high flick up, Redmond! Close, but no cigar there, and an injury called there, coming up a little shaken. Is Redmond, the Victoria, BC native.
It's always good to see players getting up under their own power. I think it's smart to take an injury call on turns like that, because it gives your entire team a chance to reset. It gives you a chance to make sure that you're okay. Sometimes adrenaline is there. I think the injury call is really smart there.
Was that through the legs of Heineman? What a throw. Drew a little O's from the sideline there. Might have to get a second look at that one. A hut going up for Montoya. Can he jump into the end zone? Tries to, but in the midst of doing so, actually flubs the disc.
Sometimes it's hard to control all of your limbs at the same time. The hands are catching and the feet are jumping over a line. It's really a lot of your body to control at once. Sometimes you just miss a catch. It's a little sad when you're trying so hard to get the score for your team. As a coach, I would always say catch first, worry about getting in the end zone second.
Azuzena slipping up on the field as Union marching it down this close sideline. Field conditions continue to playing a role in this game. Muslim calm and collected, goes inside shot. A few more matching players of Union working things up, and now down to Lynch. Napalm moving with some pace, not even really marked right now. Wu looking for Lynch. And he makes the grab. Union gets the break. Wu finds Hugo Lynch for the score.
That was a point that went one end zone to the other. Excitement from both sides, but eventually that catch from Lynch being scooped up at the very edge of grass in the far end zone corner.
And some exciting action here, the point block with the foot from Merlin Azuzena, getting multiple angles of that one. And then the throw between the legs of Heineman. Let's get a great replay shot, not hitting a blade of grass. You gotta be kidding me right there. And Wu pop it up the throw, maybe a little too far, but Lynch, full extension for the grab. And you can see the emotion on Lynch's face. A great story from the Toronto area, having come up from the team that's kind of in their tiered system. So if any MMV players are watching the audience, you remember playing with him back in the day in 2015 there. Eventually playing with the second team Zen, moving all the way up to Union. So a good feel-good story for you on the stream.
I love players who put their bodies on the line, maybe not knowing if they're going to make the catch, but still trying with 100% effort anyway, and Lynch coming up with that one, clearly excited about it.
Montagno high stalks and a laser, a flick. And that throw perhaps too far with some sizzle there. It's gonna settle into the grass.
That angle coming directly over the receiver's head is so difficult to read, and if the wind touches it at all, it's almost impossible to catch. Taking Union's defense forcing Montagno into very difficult throwing lanes.
It's that team defense we talk about. It's not just a person on the mark, it's multiple people working downfield. You goes inside to Huynh. Stall is called for you, getting a chance to play with his wife on this team. Pretty exciting. Always fun to see those connections on a mixed squad, or any squad for that matter.
So I'm calling fast count on 300.
I tell you, I tell you the sold out. And you immediately, when you throw, ask me for fast count. Before you did it, say it.
I understand what he's saying. I'm also saying that he went 8, 9, 10, like very fast. And that's where I'm like that stall down is fast count.
Saying stall 8. Back where you were on the throw.
A stall contest there, the rules written so that even if players disagree about what happened, the disc goes back.
And that results in a turnover, and Macondo gets a chance to get the hold. It is still an offensive point for them right now. Montagno. There's a little dancing in the area, no one getting free. A dangerous throw, gets picked up and then hit into the turf. Christy Laurie with that turnover for Macondo, and now Union's defensive line another chance here. Kishi putting on the backhand for Marcelino. Gets knocked down, but right back up. And Montagno now discussing things with you in the reset space.
Okay. Stalling what? Saying 3. Thank you. Stalling 3.
Side to you. Trying to continue things in too high for Jack Park. Tamayo was there to make sure things didn't go astray.
The wind has again picked up. It's coming from across the field from the side of the camera away towards the bleachers, pushing the disc back towards that far sideline, making it difficult for all those resets.
Time out to go all the way around and gonna go with a break backhand. And there it is, finds Derman for the score.
Montagno throwing that like the wind did not even exist. Put that backhand on a line on that same third or maybe even same 10th of that end zone line. Really putting it out for their player to catch.
Derman, residing in Fort Lee, New Jersey, is a pole vault coach and has played for Jug Handle for the last 2 years. A retired track athlete in her own right, and reeling that goal in for Macondo.
Such a good step out on that backhand to really get the distance away from the mark and then putting it out into space where only his receiver could get it. It's a really elite level throw right there.
Montagno had some issues trying to get free in the reset space, eventually does, and then goes down the line for the score. A very impressive handler for this Colombian group, and someone, if they're going to be successful, is going to continue to pile up the assist sheet, coming into this game already having the double digits with 11. Su had the big hug earlier to Ing Chen. Back out there. See if he decides to dial up another forehand. Was pointing deep when McClellan had fallen down, and that throw not able to go up. Big high backhand looking for Thorpe. And some claps from the Macondo sideline will help you indicate that there was a turnover. And now their D-line an opportunity. Olivieros picking up.
It'll be interesting to see where this disc comes back in. It never landed inbound, so you can see the Macondo player jogging, trotting up the field to bring it back, giving them a slightly shorter field to work with on this break attempt.
Way shorter distance for Macondo to work. Olivieros now has Derman as a reset, who's back out for this point. And a popped up throw, McClellan knocks it away. Su was beaten to the spot, but the throw not where it needed to be. Just a little too high there. Blanchard poached and then swings it over to Lamb. Su has Blanchard going deep, instead settles for man underneath. And things continue to move for this Toronto squad. Inside. There's a pick call, but Blanchard able to scoop it up just outside the end zone.
My guess is that on this pick call, using the WFDF rules, players can agree that the pick did not affect play and therefore staying with that player there.
High release backhand to man, one of the top goal scorers for this team. And Union gets the hold despite a turnover on that point. Quick reset and then dish move for Union. Man, one of the, a couple University of Guelph alumni on this team, a little Guelph connection for those who may be watching at home from that area.
That was McClellan's second assist and almost the bookends. What do you call it when someone gets the D and then throws the assist? I don't know that there's a term for that, but there should be.
Yeah, I'm one that also wants more analytics in Ultimate, and especially the hockey assist as well, because you've seen it at times where you're in a vertical stack near the end zone, Katie, and there's an inside shot that opens things up and then the backhand for the score, but really it's the inside shot that got things going. As we see more shots of we'll aptly call it the fun zone or something like that. Had a chance to play some of that earlier, and it was pretty hot at that point, but still enjoying playing with some of the production crew members out here at the World Ultimate Club Championships, and just another aspect to this great event. The cheers you're hearing are from the Union side as they want to power this team to a break for half. Going up 8-4 would be huge for them as they'd be starting on offense as well. Kind of going around. Ing Chen was in pursuit of Montoya. Montagno is going deep, and they're going to look for him. Trying to block out the sun, the throw hanging up. And Ing Chen gets there. What speed to make up that ground.
That D happening in the very back corner of the end zone. Montagno there, the disc just hanging, and with those two players in pursuit, not able to make the catch. Defensive play by Ing Chen.
You not just have to deal with the defenders, you're also dealing with the sideline and the back line as well if you're Montagno. So just a lot to work around at that point. Now Union trying to get this break for half, opening up a 4-goal lead. Macondo hoping to shut the door on that right now with a defensive stand. This throw gonna rise up. Knocked away by Benumea, getting involved. A lot of players in the area from Macondo. Benumea does get credited with the block. And now a chance to keep the hold. Kuster, the lefty, finds Montagno. He's done a great job quarterbacking this team, and a drop just near the end zone there from Duque results in Heineman leading a timeout call for Union, their second of the half and the last one. You like the call there?
I do. As a coach, you're right outside your own end zone. You've been playing hard defense. There's been a couple turns, giving you a chance to call an end zone play, have a moment, really set up what you want to do. I think for Union, they want to go into this half strong. Being up 8-4 coming out of half is a big difference maker. Macondo, alternatively, would want this to be a much smaller gap. Wind currently going crosswind, but could change direction at any moment. We've seen from the weather here in Ohio, anything could happen. And these players wanting to get to halftime cleanly.
What I love to see right there is the cheering being led by Jaromeo, currently living in Montreal, Quebec, in Canada, playing for this Macondo side, and just trying to keep the spirits up right now as they're trying to prevent this 4-goal lead at half, trying to spur on this defense of their offensive line.
Picking their defensive matchups, trying to retain possession or regain possession here for Macondo.
Before play can even get started, a pick call made downfield. Great floating throw to Azuzena. Nipam with the right hand snag. Duque telling Nipam to go back to the spot. Azuzena continuing up this backhand side. Trying to change things into the middle of the field to Heineman. Jerusalem under pressure. Powell really working hard on this point, has yet to get the disc, and that throw just too high, and seems like a call is made there. Not sure if the throw was too floaty for him to make the grab with the defenders coming in, but we'll see what the call is and what discussion is to be had.
Players going up there for that disc.
I just saw it right there. I probably missed it.
Now they're showing us.
Yeah.
Oh, here it comes again, here it comes again.
You hit me on the face. Yeah, you caught me on the right shoulder really clearly. 100%. Yeah. Okay.
Accept. All right. 45. Back here. Thank you.
Using the replay there to get an objective perspective on what happened.
Such a unique aspect of the showcase fields here. Powell's foul call uncontested. Trying to squeeze it in. Does so to Musalem. And Union takes half 8-4. A great half and a start for Union as they're trying to punch their ticket into the round of 16. Macondo trying to answer the energy back with cheers of their own. Powell looking for some options, eventually finds one at number 91, Lindsay Musalem. Musalem making the grab as Union celebrates, man being involved. Toronto Union up at halftime, 8-4.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change
around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young
and still a perfect circle
of fair play,
athletic pursuit,
and camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network
before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias
and understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve
when we
pull together.
Long live Ultimate.
Larga vida Ultimate.
Long live Ultimate.
Halftime here at the World Ultimate Club Championships in the round of 32 in a mixed division battle between Union out of Canada and Macondo out of Colombia. Get a chance to take a look at some of the game stats, and what are you seeing out there, Katie, as we take a look?
I mean, this game is clearly not as close as Macondo would like to have it. Going down early in the game, coming back with some holds. They only had 2 clean holds so far, but I think the thing that I'd like to highlight actually is Union's 13 break opportunities, only capitalize on 4 of them, but they really could have made a big difference on that. Alternatively, Macondo has not had very many opportunities giving the disc away on their O-line and not really getting turns when they have their defense on the field.
If Macondo's to be successful, they're going to rely on Robert Altieri, who's down with Hannah Pendlebury on the sideline.
Here with Rob Altieri. It's been a wonderful first half to see you guys playing out here. And that cheeky through the leg pass has won many hearts and many fans for you personally. But when you went 3-0 down at the beginning of this game, how did that feel on your guys' sidelines?
It's obviously a challenge going 3 down, but I have a lot of confidence in this team. We know we've been down a few times in this tournament so far, and we've rallied back. We like to keep our spirits high, and we have a lot of energy, and we're going to carry that through the second half.
Perfect. And in terms of the offense, it hasn't been the cleanest start. You've been giving the Canadians a lot of opportunities to sort of, punch it in. Incredible efforts on D to keep those points. But what are you guys going to do differently to clean that up in the second stage?
Yeah, I think we had a few jitters coming in. We're all really excited to be here. So everyone's looking to take their chances. We just have to tighten up a couple things. We're getting down to the end zone. We're getting down to the goal line. We just need to finish out those points, and we'll be back in it.
Absolutely. And in terms of the kind of general experience of being at the World Clubs level for you guys as a team, what does it mean to be out here on the fields in Ohio?
Oh, it's fantastic. Representing our Colombian fans back home, all the fans from wherever the team is from. It's so important for us to come in and just show for our fans and give everything we've got here. This is the best tournament every 4 years, so we're making the most of it.
Absolutely, and that's what you have to do. And if you continue playing as you have, I'm sure that will very much be the case of giving the fans exactly what they want. But back to you guys in the booth.
Just send someone out from the sideline right away because that'll speed it up.
Okay, yeah. I don't want to like insert my opinion.
No,
So
but the other.
It's just to help translate, right?
Yeah,
Well, maybe
and
they're not getting.
yeah, and also in the heat of the moment, getting out the right English words is difficult. Yeah. Right? So it's easier to just get it out in your native language and then have someone translate for you.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
Phil, please do that.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. It's a great game.
Thanks, Jeff.
Got a great look at discussion with the game advisors and a couple players from both sides. Some discussion about translation and having someone who's a little bit more fluent in English being able to come in and translate. And that's a really cool part of this tournament. That's really exciting. We get a look at Macondo. They're trying to make a comeback here. They're down 8-4 at half. We're near the second half of this mixed round of 32 matchup between Union out of Canada and Macondo out of Colombia. Some great action here at the World Ultimate Club Championships in Cincinnati, Ohio. And looking at their side of the bracket, we see some teams that are some legendary team names and some big programs. And Hoots is out there, as well as Seattle Mixtape. If they were to advance Union, they would take on the winner of the Mixtape Smog Rising game. And in this bracket, the winner would be one of the semifinalists. The final four, as you will, for those who are into March Madness, they would understand that as well. Theo Wan here with Katie Killebrew. Katie, we just saw an exciting first half where Macondo was broken a couple times, had some smooth holds, but then Union able to get some breaks towards the end of that first half, and now up 8-4. What does the Colombian side need to do to get back in it?
We can see Macondo there clapping along, beginning to cheer. During halftime, we heard them yelling, "Vamos, vamos," to each other, which means let's go. This team needs to get fired up and really back into this game quickly. They're down 4 points. They're going to come out starting on defense, which as a coach, I like coming out on defense because you almost get a free pass at that first point, and you need to get your legs under you. Sometimes you can get a little bit more into a rhythm trying to play defense than you can forcing yourself to need to score on offense.
See some claps from the sideline here as Macondo going to start on offense. And a chance to kind of stem some of the tide here. Union getting a smooth hold right away. Blanchard finding Marcelino for the score on the first point, which was quite a long time ago. A little interesting move, a little double clap from Kuster before he caught the pole. Great pressure from Ming Chen, but still caught there from Macondo. Montano working really hard in the handler space, drawing that Kishi matchup once again. 4 male matching players on the field in this setup right now, as there's some discussion. Marcelino Nepom involved, as well as Duque.
Just talking about where the stall comes back in on agreeing on that number. Clearly communicating to teammates downfield.
Disc continues to be in the middle of the field and swung now over to the far side, Duque. And then Montano, big fake, it's Kishi moving and scooped up. Great grab, and Kishi gonna call it down there with the perspective of being on the mark of that throw. And we see Ing Chen actually on Union calling it up. So it looks like the disc is gonna stay with the Colombian side.
Really great effort in that rolling catch there. Focus from the sideline there.
And Umea gonna go with the blade across the field, and a foul is called and will be accepted by Lynch. Santiago Manhumea trying to receive the disc from his sister, in fact.
That brother-sister connection, going to walk it to the front of the end zone line, allowing everyone else to move before he can tap it in there.
Antonio had burst to the open side and now goes reset. Duque instead, pressured by Nippon, but will get free for the score. And Macondo, that's what you drew up. You get a hold right out of half. That's what you needed.
A clean hold is exactly what Macondo wanted. They are struggling a little bit to find their chemistry in this game, but maybe not in this second half. This is going there, and you can see that diving catch. And then the score here to the inside to Duque. But again, a look at this diving catch all the way down. Called up on the field, but those players there not having the advantage of the replay and having a discussion about it instead.
Maybe if players saw it later, they might have a different view there, but Duque dancing, and they got the AC/DC pumping up on the sidelines. Taylor Love, the DJ for this squad, it looks like, seen him a couple times blasting some tunes, and that's part of their ethos, their energy.
It's exactly how they warmed up Macondo with that speaker, trying to bring some sideline life as they have this defensive attempt where they desperately need a break to get back into this game.
Altieri is very confident in that sideline interview at half about the team's chances of making a comeback. Side stack with McClellan isolated, but great pressure prevents that from coming off. We'll see if Union, what kind of formation they decide to melt in after that. Nice little inside shot to Balderson. And miscommunication with Thorpe. It's happened a couple times now for Union. And Macondo, a break opportunity. They're 1 for 2. When they had that first one, they cashed it in right away. Laurie.
Picking up the disc, the entire sideline, giving them spirit fingers energy towards this break attempt.
Blanchard oh so close for that one, and Arias looked like he was loading up for a huck. And Humea dumping it back. Receiver not really expecting it. And Oliveros gonna have to take it high early. And it falls into the hands of Vasquez. Sometimes you need those lucky bounces when you're trying to make a comeback. Great little shimmy move there. Oliveros gets bumped, and I'm gonna say bumped as a light word there from Balderson. I know he's just trying to stop his momentum there. Definitely not contesting that foul.
No, sometimes contact occurs, giving the players there a chance to catch their breath, but that movement from Macondo beforehand, so much faster than we've seen any time in the first half, really making connections.
Arias doing everything he can to get free of Blanchard, and does so eventually. Little inside cut, love that move. Going to the outside of the defender's hips and then swimming inside for a little 2-yard gainer, but it gets the reset off if you're Macondo. A stoppage will stop things temporarily, but back in play. Big around to Vasquez. Laurie taking a look at downfield before making the grab. Things continuing to flow from Macondo. Multiple passes in succession here as they knock on the door of a break, and a high throw. Blanchard is there, but coming down with it is Caitlin Durman. swooping out from the backside, and wow, oh wow. That's how you get a break if you're Macondo, and you know that's gonna fire up their group as Taylor Love coming down with the tunes.
Absolutely. Macondo said that they needed to use all 7 of their players, and we've seen them have a little bit of some pile-ups in the end zone before with their male matching players, but not here. Absolutely swooped there by Dermond.
Dermond, the pole vaulter, vaulting into the skies for a score, and fired up and gonna be back out on the field.
Macondo, when they get in rhythm, is really a sight to behold. They have some very good offensive movement. We've actually seen upfield a lot of pick calls disrupting their throw. I'm unsure if that's because the players are standing a little bit too close together, or maybe Union is playing a little bit poachier and creating some of those opportunities where they're running into each other. But if I think Macondo can spread themselves out a little bit and avoid those picks that stop their momentum, they're going to be very difficult to stop with their speed. I think in that point showing finally that speed, how they're outrunning Union. Union wanting to get on the board in this second half.
Only had 1 offensive point so far, still early in the second half, but definitely don't want to let Macondo feel any hopes of coming back. And Ing Chen, big backhand fake, draws the defender to move, and this pick's going to result in a turnover. And don't look now, but Macondo, a chance for a second straight break. They've had 2 so far, trying to knock on the door of a third. And Yu's going to come down with it, helping on defense. A little give and go with Ing Chen, trying to get the hold. Su draws the defender down with the fake. That was Laurie going around to Ing Chen. And the throw hits the turf, bleeding a little too much for Ing Chen to make the grab.
Really momentum changing point here. You can feel that finally Macondo has some energy.
Montagnow's throw just not going in the direction that he wanted. It's going to sail out of bounds and give a very short field for Union to work with. Su getting in the way of that one, and he was shaking his head a little bit, was Montagno, knowing that that's not what you want here, but chance to still make a goal line stand. Nippon looking to be isolated here, going up line. Now gonna have to reset to Marcelino. Players in the area, it's knocked away. Cooper, and a big hug to an unmarked receiver, and Brewster, who has lots of time to settle under it. And the timeout call for Macondo, and this gives me an opportunity to ask you a question, okay? Because I know there's many schools of thought with a timeout call like that. As we see and get a look at the turnovers here. Falling down, and Montagno still gets blocked from the arms of Su. And then Union getting an opportunity here, but the throw a little too high. The wind playing some tricks here. And Cooper going to be recorded with the block with the left hand. But as the players are dancing here, Katie, what's your perspective on that timeout call? There's a receiver there. There's other players coming down, eventually going to get there. Do you like the call, or would you rather have them play on?
I think we said that this is a team that thrives on hype, and they're hyped about this timeout. They're hyped about this break opportunity, and I think that as a coach, you have to take those opportunities to let your team be your team. Let them feel themselves all over this field. This is a fun game. This is a fun team, and we're finally seeing the fun in this second half. I have to absolutely support that, because also the stall count was rising as that player was holding the disc, and as players go by, sometimes it's very easy to turn the disc over and lose that momentum. Hopefully they can retain possession here after they've had that hype moment, but scoring here would be 3 points in a row out of this half, and that's really important for the momentum of this Macondo team.
Union's defense able to set here as Brewster, who caught the hook and was basically marked by nobody. Inside shot, Su falls down, and Montagno in the breadbasket, and Macondo, 3 straight points. And as you said, they're feeling themselves as they're right back in this game.
They're feeling themselves, and I'm feeling it too. On the sideline, you can feel energy shifts between teams as they're things. You can see the body language here of Macondo absolutely changing direction there and celebrating that one throw score after the turnover. Or timeout. No turnovers here for Macondo. They've scored 3 straight out of this half, bringing it back within 1 point to Union. Union, on the other hand, trying to get some hype, but nowhere near matching the energy that Macondo is bringing.
We talked ebbs and flows. Now this is Union's test. The coaching staff, Warren Tang, and a player coach at Emma Seaborn having to draw things up for them. Heineman, a defensive player, and looking like basically the defensive line out here for Toronto Union. Yeah. As Macondo trying to power things up in their own right and tie up this game. Half at 8-4, you're thinking, oh, maybe Union's going to try to run away with this, but Macondo had something to say, and that halftime interview showing some prophecy, at least for right now, in terms of their ability to get back in this contest. Disc center to Heineman. Union come on a vertical stack. Ooh, looking like he was going to throw the flick. So they're going to go underneath to Redmond. Ishi finding Muslim. Redmond is going deep. And that throw sailing too far. So continuous errors. A 7th break chance going into half. Macondo only had 2. And had converted 1 of them. So Union really opening the door for this comeback, and you're seeing it with the scoreline.
The sideline believes. They have their spirit fingers up there on the sideline.
Must be tiring to keep it up the whole point, but it's good energy for your team. Laurie coming down large and a throw floating out into space. Into the hands, and Macondo ties up this contest. It's 8-all. 4 straight points from the Colombian side. You gotta love it.
I am absolutely hyped. I, as a coach, think that some of those deep looks look a little bit iffy to me, but that is absolutely a regular feature of this Colombian offense. They are high flying and fun. They trust each other to go run down those throws, putting the thing out to space, and then celebrating there as Behumea makes the catch.
That was such a pretty throw too, because it was right, and that's been a couple of the throws now from Macondo, just it's in the arms. They barely have to move their arms. It's just right in the breadbasket. They reel it in. And this Colombian group is definitely fired up. How could you not? When you score 4 straight points, you're down a half 8-4, and look at this. It's turned around, and contrasting body language, of course, as Laurie gets her first assist of the game. Union trying to sort things out with the timeout call.
I think it's a smart timeout call there for Union. Some people would say stop the bleeding, but I think it's more that this team had so many different contributors on offense, many different players throwing assists and getting goals with no real star player. They're really using the depth of their team. So this change for Union could come from any person on the sideline making a dig with energy, somebody on the field making a big play. But if you don't have necessarily the quote-unquote star power or one player who's doing the majority of contributing, it has to come from someone who decides, I will not get scored on. I'm going to throw this throw perfectly in the wind for my teammate, or I'm going to make a sick bid. And that kind of energy shift is what Union has. And if one player on their team doesn't make that contributing effort, then so far, momentum is all in favor of Macondo.
It certainly is with the 4 points they scored out of half. Some data-focused folks would say momentum doesn't exist in team sports, but I would like to say otherwise. You can feel it in the air, as they say, and you can see it in the body language as well. This pole is going to hit the turf, And it's going to go around Balzerson, which is going to allow Macondo to set their defense. And a nice little change of pace from the Colombian side. Going to go zone here. Trying to frustrate some of these throwers and even cutters from Union. And a block, a point block from Macondo. And holy smokes, folks, it's been a huge momentum shift in this game. Taking their time right now. Walking to the disc. Little fake scooper. And there it is, Macondo, a 5th straight point. That's Brewster with the goal, already has an assist. And this Colombian group is so fired up right now as they went on an unprecedented run. And Union players looking shell-shocked from our vantage point. What a pull to start things off. And when you're not collecting the pull quickly or have a little mishap like that, it results in the defense setting, and that zone look was set up. It dished a couple times back and forth, but then Montoya with the right foot, sticking it out in the air, knocking it down. And then from that point on, Macondo able to take advantage of a poach. Great vision from Luisa Alvarez.
Yeah.
Living in Houston, Texas right now, making the play.
That conversion of your defensive opportunities is really smart. This is a very experienced Colombian side. Many of these players playing world games, U24s, all sorts of women's revolution players having been on this team, so they have big game experience. They absolutely believed that they could come back in this game. You and I maybe doubted, Theo, but Macondo never did.
As Heineman's walking the disc to the brick mark, I'm getting a sneaking suspicion here that this Colombian group going to come out in a zone set. It worked earlier. This disc a little bit further ahead. And with all these breaks, Altieri, one of the O-line players, getting a lot of rest, and that's going to potentially bode well for Macondo here. Union doing a much better job working through the zone right now. You resetting it back to Marcelino, swinging it over to Heineman. A little right-hand snag, going through the cup. To see if they decide to go into person here, or Union perhaps moving too fast and not called in. And Heineman does find Ing Chen, and that stops the bleeding. And so if you're a Union fan, you're excited about that. A no-turn hold, Ing Chen getting his 2nd goal of the game.
I think that's a smart play, actually, from Macondo. They were playing a zone look with a male matching player on the mark, 3 female matching players in a wall, trying to get them to throw a lot of crosswind throws in this wind. Union finally making those connections, throwing around and finding the open player on the far side. You can see maybe a sigh of relief there from Union, breathing again. They do best when they're flow. They're not maybe as hype of a team as we see as Macondo, but they're clearly focused, and their stats say they trust each other. They've had a lot of different players score, and that's what they're going to need to do. They're going to need to get their defense out on this field in this half and try to get a break, right? I said as a coach earlier, I like being on defense because it gets you a chance to get back in a rhythm. Right now, Union needs to come together and unify.
Duque, Altieri, Tamayo back on the field. Haven't seen them in a few points because their offense has been resting, and you got to feel good there. Arias as well on this point, excuse me. Kuster, number 32 from Macondo. And so will Union be able to get a break and retake the advantage? Kuster doing a good job of putting his body in front of the pole, making sure it doesn't roll behind him. Altieri has a lot of players going deep and no one underneath. And Burke and Durman getting tangled up. And And that foul call will be accepted by Burke. Good use of the WFDF, hand signals.
And this is a place actually where players can agree that the play or the foul did not affect play and could go to a back to the previous receiver. So they're going to discuss this and see what they think about what happened. But this game is tied at 9s. We've talked about the game being here, but still all tied up despite the momentum that Macondo needed to bring this back. Getting closer to that time cap, though. Slightly less than 20 minutes left in this game.
Just going to stay with Laurie. Orango. Altieri has cleared out of the handler space. Kuster fills in the spot. Good pressure from Kishi. Decides not to bid. Safe play there from 15 on Union. And as I say safe, there's a player down on the field. Orango, third year on Macondo here. And having played for the World Junior team in 2018 that came in second, bringing her experience over to this group.
Wind starting to pick up a little bit more, a little bit of cloud cover coming over, maybe a little bit darker. Both teams feeling the implications of this knockout stage game.
German thought about the huck and really sold the mark there. Burke having to jump out instead. Kuster finds Duque. Duque has Nipam running around, not being able to set the mark. And what a throw as Macondo. That's the momentum you want. You get a smooth hold to match Unions and continue to have the advantage.
Macondo again scoring in that floaty throw to the break side, trusting their receiver to recognize the throw is up and go and make a play. Unclear which of the receivers that was for, but I don't think they cared as long as it was a score.
Daniela Benjumeo, second goal of the game, and restores the advantage for the Colombians. And the Canadians gonna have to figure it out. Altieri mentioned Brewster as well. He has 3 assists right now and had an extended break. Had a flying block earlier. Hopefully you saw that one on their first offensive point.
It's really the throw through the legs, the nutmeg throw, if you will, that has me remembering from the beginning part of this game. That little bit of flair getting the entire Macondo side hype. And me, and Theo. We were both hype as well.
Got us hyped in the booth, and I had to actually get a second look at it because I wasn't even sure that that's actually what happened. To be able to throw that in this kind of pressure-filled game shows the nerves of steel for Altieri and this Macondo group. Vertical stack here from Union. McClellan was pressured, but gets it, looking for Sue going deep, normally back in the handler set. Balzerson finds Jeffrey Wu. Sue now turning into a handler, pointing and looking for Wu, but that's gonna fall right into the hands of Castano. A poach block. I hear the coach of Macondo asking how many timeouts they have. Believe it's 1, and perhaps sensing the need to use it right now with the D-line offense trying to get a break and get a 2-point lead. Pressure ratcheting up from both sides. Montagno goes backhand break. The throw going to the right side. And Wu was in the area making a play. There's going to be a foul called by Arias as they discuss it, and we hear from the game advisors.
I think as well.
Okay, you was a foul before.
There's a foul call here and there's a foul call in front.
2 foul calls there.
Yes.
As we get another look.
The thrower.
Hey, who's that straight D? Keep it up.
I think that was a clean D that then the contact came after that defensive play, but again, not going to be part of the factor because the foul was on the throw. Foul, no contest on the throw. Montagno gets the disc back.
Montagno's throws have been a key part of Macondo's team and their offense. Been able to get free when he wants for resets, and then able to launch some big throws if needed, even the break backhand. McClelland almost there, but Castano with the resolve to make the grab. Quick movement here over to Campbell. Montagno really making his mark, move all over the place, even falling down. That just shows the respect Balderson has for Montagno's throws. Laurie now on that far sideline. Balderson poaches off, which allows Montagno to get a way open throw and out to the races with Campbell. Montagno really trying to take advantage of that matchup. Campbell was looking for Laurie and can't come down with it. Had a couple players poached underneath as well, and that's going to give Union a reprieve. You heard the audible O's from the sideline.
That just in and out of the fingertips of Laurie there. Really great effort, but couldn't quite get fingers underneath the lip of the disc to make that a score. Going to have to play defense instead.
10-9, we got a close game here at the World Ultimate Club Championships Mixed Division round of 32. Sue has a receiver going deep, and Jackie Mann and the right hand snag. Gonna throw it out into space for McClelland, and having to deal with the line, doesn't make the play. A tough throw for McClelland to have to react to there. And
McClelland
the turnover is starting to pile up.
Is a tall player who takes up a lot of space, but just out of bounds and beyond the reach of the big man there.
See the hands on the head for McClelland and hands on the hips for Mann. Perhaps some frustration settling in here as we get a great look over top of the throw. McClelland just trying to have to deal with the line in multiple factors. Montagno's gonna call the second and final timeout with the time left in the cap. A veteran call there, or smart maneuver, try to settle the nerves of this Colombian squad. What would you like to see out of this timeout? Them working down the field or trying to attack right away into deep space?
I think they need to be a little bit unpredictable in terms of what Union maybe expects of them, and maybe a little bit more predictable in terms of throwing to open players earlier. When we've seen Macondo moving and grooving, hitting players back and forth, that is when their offense does best. But I think the standing and waiting for an option is not playing into Macondo's hands. Union doing a good job of playing defense on this, but that energy that Macondo has brought, rising from the beginning, like a little piano starting to play and then the bass coming in. You know that the beat is going to drop if they pull off this win in the game.
Well, we know Taylor Love has been the resident DJ for them and probably going to play a big bass drop for that. Union trying to hold right now with their offense in terms of preventing this break. Still over 10 minutes left before the time cap there. The +1 rule in WFDF, but Union sensing this as a critical time as well. This is such an exciting game to watch and be a part of, and we thank you for tuning into that. Both teams fighting for their tournament lives here, trying to keep their championship dreams a reality. Round of 32 here. Man poaching off, and Campbell's going to abuse that poach and go up line. Faking a reset and then finds Laurie open side. Man poaching all over the place and coming up empty here. And a slip and fall, perhaps an injury, excuse me.
Getting up under his own power there, which is what we like to see. The injury being called. Coach calling in another player. tapping the ground to signal we are back in action with the substitution being completed. Union now has a chance, I think, for a hold.
With turnover, sometimes hard to know what is what, but it is an offensive point here for Union. McClellan going with the scooper to Wu. And multiple teammates calling it out of bounds. Love to see the spirit in such a close contest here. No matter what time the game is in or what game it is, players showing the spirit of the game here as Spirit fingers continue to rise for this Macondo sideline. This is the third break opportunity of this point. Montano, looking like he was powering up for a flick, but goes reset. Man is really poaching continually, and Campbell now going free, getting rid of the poach, and there's still a player going free to the break side. Balzerson falling multiple times at the mark because of Montagno's fakes.
Faked off his feet there. And with a smile still in his face. That's what you like to see. Playing hard defense there.
Balzerson playing at the violation called there. Vasquez standing still.
Signaling that the player had not reset fully to the previous position.
Macondo eager to work it up this open side, and Lamb gets the block. But perhaps some discussion here from Laurie. And you know, things start to ratchet up the pressure, and sometimes, not all the times of course, Katie, some calls start to happen and show itself here. We'll get a couple looks at this one.
I think that this happens a lot in games because players can feel that we're getting close to the time cap.
Yeah. No call. Okay? Okay, yep.
And play moves on, using that replay vision to get some clarity after the contact.
Call was rescinded there from Laurie. Good spirit from both sides on this point. Sioux able to get free. Very close there was Montoya. Inside throw to McClellan. And another turnover on that side. McClellan had opportunities before on that side. It's almost like, not the same throw, but same result where the throw goes out of bounds. Sioux trying to stretch out the arms there, having to play some more defense. And if you're Union, you're still giving opportunities to Macondo, and eventually they're going to probably punch it in, right?
Someone has to score eventually. A game cannot end outside of a score per WFDF rules.
Vasquez marked by Thorpe. Needs an option. It's a high stall. And that's not going to work out. 4 turnovers apiece on this point. And we see right away Jaramillo coming in to translate potentially.
Contest.
Yeah, I contested, but it was okay. Yes.
Okay, so it's allowed contest, and she's saying fast count that. Okay.
So what's the call?
She called
Stall out.
It's all out.
But
she contest, and then she said it was fast count. But
okay, so it's a turnover.
Yeah.
Game advisor coming there to get some clarity. The turnover will stand as they signal with that kind of pancake back and forth flipping hand, signaling that a turnover has occurred.
Balzerson shifting his mark around Wu. He's going to find man for the score and a hold for Union. Just going to wait here as they discuss. Looks like they're just making sure everybody's okay there, but Wu eventually finds man. And Union escapes there with the hold. 10-all to score. 4 minutes to the time cap. What exciting action here at the World Ultimate Club Championships in the not power pools, round of 32 power pools taking place yesterday. And Macondo's offensive line getting a lot of rest. You see them starting to jog out on the field. Tamayo being one of them, Alejandro, number 16, as they get ready. Perhaps if there was the same amount of turnovers on this last one, we're going to get right to time cap through this point. Macondo hoping it's a smooth one on their end.
Macondo definitely wanting to have clean holds. I think every offense wants to have clean holds. What's concerning me at the moment is actually still the amount of picks and the amount of body contact that's happening away from the disc. Maybe it's from poaches, maybe it's from something else, but as we get tighter in closer to the end of this game, very often players are wanting to make a play for their team, and we want to make sure that even as we get close to the end of the game, wanting to win, we still respect bodies and spaces that people may be running into.
We'll go on the side of Altieri. Big swing out to Duque. Nippon poaching and coming out empty. A couple Union poaches leaving throwers open. Players open. Eng Chen poaching off to help out. That throw's going left. And what a snag! Are you kidding me? Macondo gets the score.
That is exactly the clean hold that Macondo wanted. That was a big, big throw, an absolutely ice cold break to set up that throw.
I almost lost it in the booth there. That was an insane, and I mean insane, grab with the right hand. You deserve to head spike it. That could, I'm not going to say will get you, but could get you into the round of 16. What a read. Santiago Bamhumea going up large over Eng Chen.
Yeah, Eng Chen pulling off their defender there to try to make the defensive play, but Behumea coming up with the score for Macondo, putting them up 11-10.
Union's offensive line back out there. 4 female matching players set right now as they continue to alternate throughout this game. 1 minute to the cap here with Macondo up 11-10. See a pick called here. And of course, we'll keep you updated, the audience at home, of what this game ends up going to. As Katie mentioned earlier, you have to score to win in WFF rules. Balzerson powering up for Eng Chen. And he reels it in for the score, right into the bread basket. A smooth hold and a huck from Macondo gets answered by Union.
Both teams having a clean hold on big hucks to that back end zone corner. Maybe taking a cue from the other team saying, oh, I see how you scored that. That looked fun. Maybe I'll do it too.
And with these hucks going up, you have to expect now some help from downfield defenders to provide some coverage to perhaps mitigate some of that, or a flatter mark as well. And we're heading into the critical moments where you have to expect teams really going with their power lines, their kill lines, their top lines, whatever you want to call it. Every team has a different name for it, but it's your top 7 players who are going to get the job done.
Macondo is on the line, but Union still gathered in the middle of the field. It seems unclear whether they've called a timeout or not. And these players are very aware, clearly, that the time is being very close to being called.
Heineman pumping the team up right now. And Macondo also trying to power their offense here. Kuster had the big catch earlier, bending low, perhaps going to try to catch it, but instead it's looking like a split stack kind of look. Redmond an attempt and getting up is Bahumea. A throw going up for Dermond. And a layout for Macondo. What a throw. And it's 12-11. Dermond going with the two hands and sliding in for the catch. Her third goal of the game.
This was a game of ticky-tacky throws back and forth, and both teams now unleashing. And that was a big catch at the end of the end zone right there. You can see back and forth sailing. I love how that disc sets focus all the way through.
Dermond celebrating with open arms there. And the cap situation for you is a game to 13. So Macondo trying to get the break. And I think you're a defensive-minded coach here, Katie, so you love the fact that this defense is going to have a chance to break for the win here. Union's offensive line going to have to stay cool, calm, and collected like they did the last offensive point. Don't want a repeat of that 4 turnover point they had two offensive points ago.
Well, I always say it to my player, offense scores points, defense win games, and sidelines win championships. And this sideline is absolutely hyped up here for Macondo as we get into this point.
Little zone look here. A male matching mark and 3 female matching players in the cup. A different defensive look on this critical point. Union trying to remain calm and collected here, keep their championship hopes alive. Wham, bending around. Lung is free. Has man coming underneath. We'll see if Macondo elects to go into person or stay in this zone set. And it looks like they, in fact, have stayed in zone. Balderson perhaps going with a flick, but instead, Lern gets free and Union breaking out.
Still haven't scored, looking on the end zone line right now.
McKellen is blocked at the point of attack. That's Montoya, no foul called. And Macondo a chance to break for the W and a berth into the round of 16. Montoya, power position, elects not to throw it. And he does now. Balderson gonna knock it away. 1 turnover apiece. Maybe a little bit too eager to get the W there. You hear from the sideline, back in it here, gonna stay in that zone set. And a foul called on the mark. This throw, or excuse me, the disc gonna go all the way back. Balderson and Montoya talking things out here. Time irrelevant at this point. First team to score to 13 wins this game.
Player coming in to translate, game advisor there to advise as they talk about where the disc should come back. Balderson laughing as they finally figure out what's happening and talk about where this should come back in.
Oh, +1 to your count.
I think 2, only 2.
Okay.
+1.
And he was foul?
Yes, so it's +1.
+1. It's turning 3. We're in on 3.
Thank you.
Balderson, as he was pivoting, hitting Montoya there. Stalcon coming in on 3 in the zone set for Macondo. Union's gonna have to be patient, slicing it through now through the middle. And as time ticks by here, giving their offensive line some rest, perhaps for a universe point on this stream. Lang finds man on the far side. Big fakes, looking like almost a double team there. And I believe the call is made.
It's a smart call there. Sometimes as a thrower, it's very hard to be aware that another player is a little bit too close to you and make that call as the stall count is rising. Very good awareness there.
She caught for a double team.
So, right.
Stall count gets reset to 1 here. Man, a captain and veteran of this team. Trying to get the hold for Union, reset to the Balzerson. Taking the hammer, and almost a D from Laurie. Union trying to work it laterally here, and a pick being called as you trying to go into the backfield with Montagno guarding him.
Macondo using the break of that double team call to transition into person defense.
High stall count, that's tipped. Caught by you. Keeping Union's dreams alive, at least for right now. Ball's to try to get free. Looking for Leung in the front cone and trying to make the grab, but it hits the turf. Campbell picking up right away from Macondo. Laurie keeps feeding bounds. Powering a Hawk. McClelland is there. Mahumea there and as well. And this throw going to sail out of bounds, but going to have to make Union work the full 70.
And I think that's just showing how much the wind is affecting. That disc was blown across the entire width of the field. Laurie, you remember catching it right here on the close sideline.
Laurie taking a very long time to get to Lamb, allowing a free reset. Man is going deep. Leung gonna put it up. Vasquez is there. And some confusion, and it's gonna be out of bounds. So Union giving another opportunity for Macondo to get the break and the W.
I tell my players, usually if the cone moves, someone stepped on the line.
Macondo, you might be wondering why they haven't called a timeout. It's because they have none. So gonna have to work it with this 7 if they want to win. It's a high throw. And Tamayo and Mann were both there. Orango coming in to perhaps translate and have cooler heads here.
In this case, if the players think that they both grabbed it at the same time, the tie would go to offense. But on that replay, it looks to me...
I was too far away to give you a perspective on that call, so...
Though Tamayo didn't see it, these players not using the replay on the big screen behind them in this particular case, choosing to discuss it instead.
Slowing it down.
My fingers are longer. I got her right here.
Look at the repetition there.
This player's pointing to the replay here. Gonna maybe have to get a player closer to the screen to be able to see it.
Such close work.
Okay, retracted call. All right. Everyone where you were on the catch.
But going to stay there with Tamayo. Excellent defensive effort, however, from Daniel Leung.
Mahumeo almost got bumped by Balzerson, but offense going to continue here. Half field for Macondo. The Colombians inching closer to the round of 16.
The sideline is so anxious here as they move the disc back and forth. Union's defense is absolutely so close.
Montagno inches away from sending this team to the round of 16. We'll have to put up a high stall throw. And Laurie is there, other players are there. There's going to be a discussion. You wouldn't expect anything less in such a high-stakes game. Players making sure they get the calls right and their perspectives are heard.
From this camera angle, I can't even see the disc or what happened.
Montagno getting into a high stall count situation. And the throw does hit the turf, but going to be some discussion on if there was a foul or some physicality there.
I think both our players, there was a pack, I think everybody really touched the disc, and there was...
Did you all touch the disc? Because I definitely was about to catch the disc. And I mean, I guess you can also, I don't know if it's
A convergence of forces there.
I understand, but I...
Sorry, I got W2, you were coming, she was over you, then you lose control, and then you hit the other two girls, and that's what happened. It starts with their touch.
I hear of you. Are we able to reach an agreement on what the call?
Keeping the foul.
Yeah, we're keeping the foul.
So there is a foul call, and it will be?
Definitely.
If you can't come to an agreement, then the call will be contested according to the rules. Okay? So it's a foul call, it's contested.
So we're coming back to the thrower?
Yes. 6.
Contested foul back to the thrower here. It was a high stall count for Montagno. 12-11, game to 13. They're inches, and I mean inches away from the round of 16 and putting Union's championship hopes away.
I love being able to get on the field and hear the conversations between players trying to get the right outcome.
Going around, and it's snacked down by Man. Union given a reprieve. 3 turnovers apiece, and they're working quickly now. Scuba to Blanchard. Man is free. Campbell trying to get there, but Union staves off elimination with the hold. Blanchard finds Jackie Mann for the score. And now, folks, the words you all wanted to hear. Universe point, baby. What a time to be alive as Union continues to stay alive in this tournament, at least for right now. What a sequence in terms of how fast Union started to work, and a blown assignment downfield as Man just completely free and had all the time in the world to make that grab. And Union having a timeout, electing to use it here.
At halftime, the score was 8-4. And we had that interview that said they believed, they did not worry that they could come back in this game. But to be honest with you, Theo, I doubted. I doubted the hype, but Macondo absolutely proving that their energy, wanting to play together, the trust that they have from the team's formation in 2014 at the LEGO World Games, has proved that they have come back in this game. Union, we talked about them getting broken so many times, getting scored on 5 times coming out of halftime. Maybe finally unifying, coming back together. We're gonna see how these two lines, these two energies match up in this last point.
This is it, folks. This is the last point of this game. It's a double game point. Universe, sidelines filling up. The energy is real. One team is moving on the round of 16. The other is seeing their championship hopes die on this field. It's all gonna come down to this.
On the far sideline, some of the other Colombia players from Levolution and the other mixed teams are there to support their compatriots. More Canadians lining the sideline. This is the energy of a World Games, and it's so special to be here in moments like this.
Center to Altieri, the do-it-all handler. Tamayo has some steps going deep. Could this be it? Slamming the disc in frustration. It's out of bounds, and Union gets a chance.
I feel like the breath was sucked out of my body. The entire sideline paused as that disc went up, tracking it down and jumping to catch, but not being able to get that foot in to make it a score. Macondo going to have to get a D. Union going to have to work all 70 yards all the way down to the other sideline to win this game.
Altieri on the mark of Kishi. Wu is free, gets it underneath. Ain Chen is deep. Elects not to throw it. Resets it back to Kishi. McClellan crossing over from the offensive line. Ain Chen working really hard on this point. Going around to McClellan, and the throw just too far. And Macondo, another opportunity, folks.
McClellan having some great catches in this game, but his teammates just overthrowing him on that far sideline again.
Tomea over to Kuster. Working it up ever so slowly now. Duque going up line. Great bid attempt. Goes back around to Kuster. Needs an option. It's a high stall. McCullough knocks it away. So great goal line defense from Union. Tense moments for both teams, as we mentioned, the sidelines filling up here. And it was a high stall.
A very high stall, some miscommunication at the front of the stack, saying you cut, no, you cut, and leading to no options, having to try to float something to the back of the end zone there.
Kishi to pick up once again. Mentioned he was a rookie. Won a national title with Grand Trunk in 2016, trying to get this team into the round of 16. Wu is poached free. Finds him in the end zone, just in front of it, excuse me. Dump over to Kishi. Finds Mann, who's crossed over, has done it all for Union. Over to Marcelino. And a pick called.
I wish I could communicate the anxiety that is happening on this sideline. Everyone in the stands also feels it. Both of these teams have worked so hard in this game, and it's 1 point that leads it. Thrown out of bounds, unable to be collected safely.
Even if there was a little bit of contact, that throw was out of bounds, and Altieri's going to walk it to the line. Another chance here. Orango working over to Kuster. Montoya and Tamayo working give and go. Some switches downfield, and there is a pick. Montoya is free. McClellan, I don't think, was close to Montoya there. Such tense moments. These players got to show so much resolve right now.
Again, remembering in WFDF, players can agree that the play did not affect.
Ain Chen trying to poach the lanes, and a throw dips to the ground. 2 turnovers apiece, no more timeouts. It's these 14 players that will decide who moves on. Marcelino, that throw's gonna go high and caught for a block. There is a call, excuse me. An injured player on the field.
Oh, high flying defense on the other side, focus, but unfortunately a player going down. It looks like it's Behumea on the ground there, being pulled up by a teammate. We're getting another look at this play on the other side. Tipped, caught, and moved on. But I think this may go back depending on when the injury was called. Great focus there by the players. We're trying to listen in on when this injury will happen.
Because she called for injury, right? So she called for a foul, right? But then she was injured, so we did this. So you stop, and that the play is over there. It was before, right?
2 throws. Okay.
2 throws before. Okay, so where's the disc? Is it going to be there? It's back there? Okay. So the disc will go back.
If it affected, it will go back. If it did not, it stays.
Did it affect the throw? Did it affect?
Play on the other side.
So it did not affect the play. It's a, oh, because you're thinking whether it's a turnover. So was he aware that there was a call? No. So he still went for the disc. Yes. So you are.
When he had it, he swung it to her.
Yes.
But, like when he had it, that's when the call was called. He threw it to Kat, the girl.
Okay.
And then she threw that one that popped up.
So it should be before.
Like 2 throws before. Yes.
Before her.
Before her, yes.
Yes.
No, nobody stopped. Everybody keep.
Wait, our cutter stopped. The cutter that went for it, he stopped, right? He pulled up.
Okay. That is the rule. That is
okay. I thought it was 1. He paused on the cut, right?
Did he? So much discussion happening here on a very important point. I think that players are trying to discuss when the specific injury was called and where the disc was at the time. It looks like.
Is that the agreement? What is the agreement on this?
Well, we are. Well, if you're saying that if it was 2 throws before.
If it's 2 throws before and there's an
Please.
injury.
Okay, talk to it.
No, yeah, it does.
As players discuss, we're going to get another look at this. In the bottom right-hand side of your corner is where the signal for foul and injury is before the throw went up and that D. The question is whether or not those players recognized and whether it affected the play. It's a complex sort of thing happening, which I think warrants this level of discussion. Normally, players don't get the benefit of a replay.
Right? So, did he stop?
No.
He did not stop.
It was 2 passes. Then
there were 2 throws.
yeah, it was 2 throws.
So I'm pretty so. But then
Okay, we can't agree. Let's just go back and have the call contested. Okay? So back to the thrower.
It sounds like the throw is going to go to back into the possession of Union earlier in the play. Players displaced all over the field, miscommunications, the sideline also baffled, time going up.
Stall coming in on 6 here, a high stall count for handler Matt Kishi, dumping it right back to Marcelino, who finds Kishi. Cutter's very deep right now for Union, and a scooper out to McClelland, reels it in with 2 hands. Kishi finds an opening Chen. Snagged by Man, who finds Marcelino. Couple heart-stopping grabs for Union as they're trying to get to half field. And the pick called in the action. Ooh, inside to Man, Union trying to punch their ticket to the round of 16. A free reset over to Kishi, looking for Burke. And the bidding defender, Arango, helps generate the turnover. Multiple turnovers for each side. The nerves getting the better potentially of both teams. Wu trying to get there.
Sidelines yelling for legs, willing their players to keep running in this very long, highly contested Universe point.
There are no more timeouts. It's these 14 that will determine who moves on. Players getting visibly tired. And this will be under some contention as well if he caught it.
That is absolutely looking like he hit the ground very hard there, regardless of where the disc was.
Kuster making that grab. Or attempted grab. And that throw hitting the turf. Down call. Kishi has Chen going deep. Settles for Wu in the resets place. Union, an opportunity, it's blocked! Absolutely denied!
That is such a good poach angle there from Behumea. Really, the male matching player absolutely did not see her getting one there. Back for Macondo.
Players have to be gassed with more than 3 turnovers apiece here. Kuster, who got winded, is going to have this backhand air out. And it's going to settle into the hands of Macondo.
That was a lot of contact for those 2 players. Celebrations bottled down, making sure that those 2 players are okay. That was a very high-flying catch attempt and a good read there by, I think, Orongo, who caught the disc.
Orongo makes the catch, making sure players are okay. But Macondo is moving on. They will take on Seattle Mixtape in the round of 16 at the World Ultimate Club Championships. Take a look at the huck. Players jumping up early, and it's Orongo who comes down with it amongst the pile. And the Colombians are moving on to the round of 16.
The energy on this field was electric. Both of these teams having such great effort in this game. We saw 2 different styles of play. Macondo with their high-flying, fun jams with the speaker, and Union really using the depth of their whole team, making connections back and forth. This mixed division has shown us some really great matchups, some unexpected things, these 2 teams not having met before, and really giving us a show here in Cincinnati.
My heart rate up at 122 right now. Not sure for you, Katie, and the audience at home. Heart-pounding action for you from the World Ultimate Club Championships. Macondo will take on Seattle Mixtape in the round of 16. Union going to work through another bracket here. Their championship hopes will not work out here today.
I feel like maybe we've gotten 3 games in one. The beginning of this game was all about Union. They broke and they took the lead in this game in the 8-4 half. Coming out of half, then we had Macondo with an absolute string of points, bringing it back to tied. 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s, bringing us to Universe Point. I could not have asked for a more fun matchup as we see the dancing Macondo.
And now, as the dust settles, we take a look at the game stats here. 13-12 the final score. We saw 1 of 2 break chances for Macondo, and then it turning into 5 for 15, and that is the decider as they take it. Stay tuned for the next stream as we got a scintillating matchup between Ann Arbor Hybrid and Seattle BFG.
I just wanted to say the difference between those 2 teams was 1 turnover.
There you have it, and we hear the celebration music being played for the Colombians. Hannah Pendlebury is with 2 players from Macondo as they're going to celebrate their victory.
And so that we get the names right, we have
Daniela Benjumea,
Pedro Jaramillo,
and Pedro's going to be kindly translating our questions so we can get exactly the answers. So, Daniela, you got the pivotal block at the end there. How did that feel?
¿Qué tuviste el bloqueo más importante? ¿Cómo se siente?
La verdad se siente muy feliz porque necesitamos este punto para poder avanzar un poco más, tener un paso más acercándonos a los primeros puestos.
She's really happy because it's really important at that point. We need it so we can move forward in the tournament to the first places, to the top places.
So when we spoke to your teammate at the halftime, it was about saying how are you going to change things to clean things up on your offense, and then you guys just came out all guns blazing. So what was it that you changed in the second half versus the first to put yourselves on the map here?
Bueno, que con Rob hablaron en el primer tiempo de qué teníamos que hacer para organizar nuestra ofensa y nuestra defensa para poder alcanzar al equipo. Y que llegamos recargados, ¿qué fue lo que cambiamos para poder alcanzar el triunfo?
Yo creo que logramos conectarnos más, subimos más la energía que teníamos en el principio, estamos como muy abajo, no queríamos como, encontramos las ganas para ganar ese partido, para subir más.
So in half we level up our energy. So we believe at the first half we was pretty low. Then we keep up in the intensity, and that was what helped us to like improve in the game.
Perfect. And on that universe line, at the very end of the game, what did you say? What did you say to each other that got you ready for that final point?
Bueno, en la última ofensa, ¿qué fue lo que nos dijeron ustedes para alcanzar el último gol?
Que lo hiciéramos con paciencia. Nosotros sabemos jugar esto y ya nos conectamos tanto que podemos hacer nuestro trabajo, el trabajo más fácil que podemos.
So the most important thing is patience. So we know each other for so long, so we know like our cards and stuff. So the most important thing was patience and like play with each other.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations on making the top 16. It'll be a pleasure to maybe catch you on these streams again. Soggy here on the sideline. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, Hannah. As we see Hybrid fans getting excited for this matchup coming up. Seattle BFG will take on Ann Arbor Hybrid in a round of 16 matchup. In this contest that you just watched, Macondo coming back down 8-4 at half. Amazing flying blocks from the Colombian side. They were able to show some resolve here, and despite the advantage at half, able to make things happen. Multiple turns on that universe point, and great efforts there as we saw from Hugo Lynch of Union. And Macondo just making things happen right now. Any final thoughts here, Katie, before we sign off?
I'm just excited from the depth from both programs, really seeing growth across the division, and both of these teams really using the full depth of their roster, all 7 players on each line as they change the gender ratios point to point. Absolute privilege to watch this game.
We thank you for tuning into Ultiworld's coverage. More streams coming at you. Macondo moving on to the round of 16. They take it 13-12.